Hello everybody and welcome to the next episode of the Joe and Ruben Show.
I'm very excited about this too. But yeah, it's just good to see you all. It's been a while. We've been dilly-dallying a bit, haven't really got around to uploading. But today we're going to hit you with a rather interesting. It's going to be on your head in a few years. Let's just say.
Are you ready to dive into the reality of Ready Player One, the VR? So for everyone who doesn't know what VR is, what have you been living under a rock for the past?
It is true.
5 years. VR is virtual reality, and dictionary definition: virtual reality is a virtually generated world where you can feel fully immersed in a simulation. And examples are like the headsets you wear.
Ah, yes, the little cardboard things that you slot your phone into back when they were big.
Yeah,
not the most immersive thing in the world, but the main difference is that completely cuts out all your senses around you. Whereas
AR is elements of virtual world integrated with the real world. So you would have your headset on, but you would be able to see what's in front of you, but you would have like a virtual screen on the side. So
VR, think Ready Player One. AR, think you're walking along the street and you see an ad pop up like in front of your face.
yeah, it's like a headset, but you still see what's on. You can see like a cat run across you, but the cat isn't actually there.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which is really cool. They quite often use it. Microsoft use it for training people for to work with like Lyft. So Microsoft have the headset, and it allows you to fix a lift, and it'll have someone come in wearing this AR headset, and because it's AR, they can have instructions and videos, and someone on the side basically talking them through how to fix lifts.
It's clever, isn't it?
Really clever.
Yeah.
Great way of introducing it all together. But in this episode, we are planning to cover Meta's role in it, Google Glass, and the new headset, Meta Quest Pro.
Yeah, of course. Well, not quite new when we're coming out with it, but
Well, when we planned this, it was like 3 days after the release, and we were meant to record it, but we've been busy. So.
yeah, I don't know. Well, it just means we can have time to flesh out our opinions a bit more.
Yeah, definitely. Facebook leading the charge into the VR future.
Facebook? What's Facebook? I think you mean Meta, mate. What on earth is a Facebook? What are you on about?
So, Facebook, if you didn't know, they changed their name in October 2021 to Meta. So, what do you think about that, Joe?
Well, it's clearly showing them going in a very different direction. I mean, this isn't really a hot take, but I think they made this very clear. But their main priority from now on, it's not to make funny apps where you can do share and like have some weird comments or whatever. It's really, they're completely committed from this moment forward to pushing AR on the general public.
Yeah,
and popularising it.
Definitely. Could you see they're almost failing though? Was that the right move for them to move away from social media?
Well, I think that, what would you really do if you were the CEO of Meta? Like, Mark Zuckerberg's in a very tough place. Like, his stocks are down, Facebook is losing members, WhatsApp is, it's been caught in a bunch of scandals which have kind of tarnished its reputation. Only really Instagram is, like, still there and relevant culturally. So, like, I think it's bold. It's definitely bold, but can't you see the logic behind it?
Oh yeah, he's definitely thinking ahead, and actually, if he capitalises on this early, they've got it. So, like you said earlier, their business ideas completely changed. Apparently, if you ask anyone in Meta, they will say it's going towards VR, no matter what. They now revolve around the metaverse.
Yeah.
Which is their. Is it there? It's like the internet of the VR world.
It's like the internet, but with more senses, is a way I've seen it put. Like, the internet before was just your site. You could see and you could interact with, like, text, well, semi-text. Obviously, there's some chat rooms where you use your voice. This is really just, it's not meant to be, like, a competitor to the internet. It's meant to be a replacement for the internet. It's meant to immerse you more in the online world.
Oculus. So, did you know they were an independent brand before?
They were, yeah.
So, up until 2014, they were an independent brand, but then Meta bought them, or Facebook bought them, because they hadn't changed their name back then.
Yeah.
In 2014, for £2 billion, which now you think of it, is a lot, but I think Oculus is worse than almost like triple that now, isn't it?
It makes you think, like, do you think they've been planning this thing for a while, considering they bought it in 2014? Or What do you think?
I think they knew it was going to happen at one point, so capitalising on it early and then making the shift later on was probably the way they were going. So they probably knew they want to dabble in VR, but at that point, no one could have known it would either go big or it would flop. You still
Hedging their
don't
bets.
really know any, so they just kind of
Yeah.
went for it. But it's now pulling lots of money, £10 billion.
I mean, Oculus is. It's basically the standard for like VR gaming, isn't it? I mean, there's the Steam whatever they have, and that's more technically advanced. But Oculus, it's really like the iPhone of VR. It's affordable and it's out there really.
But but Facebook, I keep saying Facebook, but Meta have they've invested £10 billion into making the metaverse, and what they have a special department lab all down to it, and they're putting lots and lots of money into it.
Do you think it's worked? Are you like considering the metaverse? Would you make the switch?
I don't know. It's really expensive, and I think
right now, yeah.
But it needs lots of companies to invest lots of money into it, so then it will get better, and then it'll evolve over time.
We'll discuss this a bit more later on, as we do have quite a few thoughts.
But also, again looking at Meta though, as it's coming now, its stocks are falling. So, do you still think it has a future?
It's feeling the pinch, isn't it? Well, I think the stocks would fall whether or not they made the switch to Meta, really. Like, as I say, Facebook's been declining for a while. Why most people use Facebook or WhatsApp for business. I mean, there's literally WhatsApp business now. Only really Instagram, as I say, is the main thing here. And even with Facebook Messenger, they're trying desperately. They're like an animal backed into a corner. They're trying desperately to like grasp at these new technologies to try and move the company forward. Because, I mean, what would you do if you were CEO of Meta? What other options do you really have here?
You could sell, but that would be stupid. To be honest, I'd cut my losses and leave. But actually,
just run away.
Just run away. But I think he's doing the right thing by investing. And he's investing lots of money into not a bad technology, into a good technology, with the idea if he invests enough time and enough money into it, it will be good. And I think that...
Oh, and they have the talent. There's so many talented people working at Meta.
Exactly.
First, let's talk about where it all began, shall we? Put yourself in the shoes of a person living in the 1980s. Technology is progressing. 1984, Macintosh comes out, revolutionises personal computing.
AC/DC.
A few before that, very true. A few years before that, IBM PC, first personal computer. There's really like a massive amount of excitement in the air about where this technology could be heading. At the time, the main big hub of gaming technology, since home consoles were very popular, was arcades. And of course the arcade owners saw this and were like, oh wow, well, you know, we're the main hub of gaming, because back then arcades basically had a monopoly on gaming. We could make quite a bit of money out of this. So what's the logical progression from like staring at a screen and using controllers? Well, what if instead of staring at a screen, you were completely immersed in the world? You can see the logical jump, right, can't you? And hence, we got the first very primitive form of VR, and it was very much virtual reality. And this was actually pretty popular. There were all sorts of...
Yeah, they were really popular, which is weird to see because they were behind. They just didn't... The technology...
Yeah.
But they were really good-ish to a certain extent.
There was a lot of potential there, but unfortunately, companies being companies, they found some ways to mess it up. A lot of motion sickness, firstly. Maybe you could say that, the human brain just wasn't ready for that much power, but really I think it was a consequence of screens not being good enough back then, it not being convincing, hence little Jimmy's going to throw up on the floor.
Yeah, you don't want to be the company of when you put on that headset, you throw up, because that does not make your company look good.
Yeah.
Here, have a headset.
And I mean,
by the way, you're going to be really ill after this.
I think the real pinnacle of like complete VR stupidity was the Nintendo Virtual Boy. That came out. I've seen it argued that the Virtual Boy is what completely just wiped VR off of the main cultural consciousness, because A, there was no colour, and also the screen in it was really terrible. Like you could play like tennis at 140p. Of course that's going to cause motion sickness. And B, imagine how hard it is to develop for a VR software. Like, you're a programmer. How are you even going to begin to do that?
There wasn't much software on the VR Boy.
Yeah, exactly. Hence the lack of software, which really killed it. And it was so atrocious, in fact, that even Sega, who were planning before their own Sega VR, They never released their own console.
Yeah, they were going to, and they just stopped, didn't they?
Because the press at the time was so terrible. How could you? It was hopeless. And so the first VR, big wave of VR, was brought to an unfortunate, rather dramatic close.
Dun dun dun. The prime time of 2013.
Yeah. Fast forward, 2013, Google, massive company, absolutely popping off. Billions. It's already like overtaken Firefox. They're a major search engine. They have money, they have cash, and they want to spend it on something. They want to be on the cultural consciousness, because obviously this is Google we're talking about. They don't exactly make phones, or at least they didn't back in the day. Hence, Google Glass. They're bringing it back. They saw all the failures in the 80s and thought, look, this is 2013. It's basically the future. We have the technology. Why not give it a second chance?
Did they have the technology?
Well, we're going to find out. So, Google Glass, if you don't know, it's very AR, isn't it? It was never meant to be.
It was an AR pair of glasses that you put on your face, and it would give you notifications, take photos, voice recognition, videos, calls, messages, all there in your glasses.
It sounds appealing, doesn't it? It's like an extension of yourself, innit?
It feels like, you feel very James Bondy wearing it, like very
It's true,
futuristic. Spy films or future films, and they've all got very Tony Stark.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say that it flopped.
Well, firstly, the target audience at the time was really, it was your average Joe, your average
smartphone user.
Yeah, not understanding technology. They just wanted something that worked. And is your average Joe Malone on the streets, who barely knows how his smartphone works, willing to drop £1,500, which was how much it costs, on some experimental new technology?
And back then, when phones weren't costing that much, I know nowadays it's kind of normal to see a phone costing up to £1,000, but not back then.
This was 2013.
I think if they'd have put it to the right target audience, maybe business people, maybe it could have gone slightly better. But to have it at smartphone users,
yeah, I know. And this is 2013. It's basically the Stone Age. It's hard to support this much technology, and also another major concern: privacy. The thing had a massive camera on it. Firstly, I don't think it had a sensor to know when the camera is on. So you could just be talking, chatting, and all of a sudden, the person talking to you with their goofy Google glasses on could be recording you constantly. How are you supposed to feel comfortable like that?
Or that all Google Glass could be taking photos without you knowing and sending the data back. And
exactly.
That's not too good. So there was lots of privacy concerns.
It got to the point, I think, where they started banning people who wore Google Glass from going into cinemas because the risk of piracy was just so great.
Oh yeah, because you just look at what you want. But the thing is, they sold less than 1 million units.
Oh yeah. Disaster. I mean, it sounds like a lot, but this is Google. And imagine how much a thing like that would cost to develop.
£800 million.
Ouch.
Not good for them. Also, just on the topic of bad things, their battery life it was almost as bad as the new Meta Quest Pro. Because it only had 48 hours. That's you couldn't even wear it for the whole day.
How do you even charge a pair of glasses?
I think you put it on the dock, and all I know there was a wire thing that clipped into it.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you look stupid. None of your friends are going to talk to you because they're worried you're being recorded. What was the point, really?
So I'm going to give my smooth segue into the Meta Quest Pro. Drum roll, please. Meta Quest Pro.
Yeah.
So before it was Meta Quest Pro, just a bit of fun information. It was Project Cambria. So, but now they've dropped the code name for Meta Quest Pro.
Yeah.
As it's been out for... Has it been out for a month yet?
I'm not sure. It feels very recent, but...
It might be out for a month. I think it came out 20th.
It came out,
October.
everybody made videos about it, and then it kind of just all went silent, which is not a very good sign.
Well, at the time of recording this, it was about a month before, but I have taken ages editing it because of exams and life getting in the way. But enough excuses. Let's get on with the podcast. Yeah.
But yeah, you want to talk about a bit about it?
So, the Meta Quest Pro is the latest of Meta's headsets. And this is what they claim to be the most revolutionary
Was.
headset yet. It's a very high end device, costing for the mere price of 1,500.
Yeah. Which, about as much as Google Glass, but a very different target audience, isn't
But
it?
with the target audience is aimed at businesses, with them heavily focusing on AR. So with the whole integration of Teams, being able to draw in the air and create 3D models.
Yeah.
And also have productive, so it has lots of, you can have like Word up or PowerPoint.
Yeah.
And your monitors just virtually there, which
I
is
have
very
a lot of
good
opinions
for,
about that.
very
Well, yeah.
good for businesses. Well, actually, going on the thing of having virtual monitors, it means if you want 4 monitors, hey, you can have 4 monitors without having to spend £1,000 on each monitor.
Exactly. I think that's like, it's a really good selling point, but for some reason Mark Zuckerberg just never brings it up. Like, £1,500, yeah. That could save you what? It could save you a mouse, firstly. That could be virtual. Could save you a keyboard. That could be virtual.
Could save you
monitors.
Infinite monitors.
Yeah, basically infinite monitors, no.
And
And
probably
like,
a higher resolution.
oh yeah. And like a beautiful background. Make you more productive. Like, you don't have to be one of those like terrible bosses who just like refuse to buy plants because like even though they're proven to like improve productivity. Make a virtual plant. What's stopping you?
Put yourself on the beach.
Exactly.
And this was very much the physical and the digital merged together. Also had AR alongside your VR.
Would you say it's the peak of it's everything Oculus has been building towards?
Yes, definitely. It's a new design and it goes all the way around the head, which Linus was saying it feels more stable.
Yeah.
And it doesn't come off. It feels
Because all the computery bit is at the back.
Yeah, and he says it also doesn't always feel like you have something on your head because it's so evenly distributed, which actually is really good, because if you've got this on for a couple of hours, or in the future if you're going to be wearing this 8 hours a day, you don't want to feel like you've got something there. But actually, strangely, because of its all-round head design, it is ever so slightly heavier. Nothing major, but it is gram to gram slightly heavier.
Weird. I guess there's less of a pressure to like make it lighter, because before, if you have a really heavy thing on your eyes, you're just gonna be like dragged down like that. Whereas with this, it gives them a lot more flexibility.
Also, the resolution on this one for the out-facing cameras is, I think, one of the best they've done, and it might be one of the best on every VR headset so far. So it means when you're doing AR, you'll be getting the crispest image in colour. And I'm not sure if Meta have done colour out-facing cameras before, so
I'm not sure. I'm not really familiar with the whole out-facing camera thing.
but it's the sensor that allows you to capture the AR.
Yeah, I know that.
But to be having it in colour as well, really, Marcus Brownlee was saying that the colour's good,
Yeah.
and which is really good.
What I think is really impressive is that apparently, I'm going off like some light sources here, but apparently in each controller there is a Snapdragon chip, like the kind you would find in a phone. That's how much power is inside of these things, which kind of, it explains the 1,500 price tag, doesn't it?
It does, but it's also a premium product. Like it's no cheap thing to buy all the equipment and parts needed. Also, I know they've got from inward facing sensors, so it can scan your face and your emotions. So when you're in your avatar, it can capture your emotions. So if you're smiling, it'll smile, and when it's sad, and it will really
And show a really terrible render of that in Horizon Worlds.
It's done a really good render of your emotions, because people were saying, well, actually, I don't like just because when you see people, you do read them off their emotions as well, and a lot of it comes from the face, and especially by having these forward-facing sensors that will sense what you're looking like to display that in like Horizon Worlds is definitely a good step. So
Speaking of, what are your thoughts on the direction Horizon World is heading? Because all of this, it closely depends on Horizon World, doesn't it?
it does.
Oh, for those of you who don't know, by the way, Horizon Worlds is Meta's... It's basically everything Ready Player One was. It's this virtual world. It's meant to be the main hub of the metaverse. Roblox... But there's a $1,500 price tag for anybody who wants to enter.
So it is very Ready Player One. It's the main hub to branch off, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Do you reckon he will do a Ready Player One, and when he dies he'll leave keys behind and...
Maybe. I don't really think not Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg is that extravagant. It's really, he's a bit of a boring guy. I mean, Elon is dumb, right? But at least he's interesting. Mark Zuckerberg, have you seen? He said this on when he went on Joe Rogan's podcast. He just buys a Hawaiian island and just chills there, like taking virtual meetings. Mark Zuckerberg, he owns his own island.
Good for him.
He doesn't need to like be on a beach through his VR headset. He's literally in Hawaii constantly.
I mean, if you were that rich and you had access to that, would you not just be sitting on your own private island?
My brother, I'd take over the world. I could hire my own private army if I
Has
wanted.
he not already taken over the world?
True.
He has got sensors watching us in every location.
Let's look at this from a perspective of a company who's considering investing in this kind of technology. You reckon let's say for the sake of argument, you run some shelving firm. I don't know. I only say shelving firm because that's where I did my work experience, and they had a bunch of VR headsets for training. But you run a shelving firm. Are you likely to invest in this kind of stuff?
100%.
Oh, really?
Because even if it's like one or two, it means it's way more effective to branching out. And I was watching Swan, and they were learning languages, and as you interacted with the world, it would tell you the language. It would tell you what you're picking up in the language. And as you learnt the language, you would unlock more of the world and bring it back to colour. So it would be black and white when you hadn't learnt it, and as soon as you learnt it, it'd be colour.
Oh, wow.
So it's definitely the future.
Duolingo's got some competition there.
Exactly.
To what extent would you invest in it? Would you go the full replacing all monitors, or
No,
how
so
would you?
I think depends how big your firm is and how big you are. Maybe a couple, or maybe a small department, so you can rotate them round or hire them, or so people can use them for a week or 2 weeks, so everyone gets kind of a go. It's really nice, or
having fun.
Or having fun, just to relax, just to play some Beat Saber.
It's true.
They need some more games on there, which is due to.
Can you not run all the Oculus games on MetaQuest?
Yeah,
Pro?
you can. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But they just need some more. They just need some more games, some more
Yeah.
interesting ones.
If you had the money, would you buy it as like a pure power user? Completely revolutionise your VR chat experience.
I think I would maybe if I had the money, just because I think it'd be really cool to have the AR experience as well.
And also you get to experience all this new technology.
Got little rubber flaps to help the light. The light comes in, so you have to buy some extra light shields.
Let me guess. Are they pulling an Apple where they sell the light shields individually for like £600 or something?
Something like that.
I don't know. Do you think it will ever get... Here's the real question. If we're talking AR, do you think it will ever get to the point where people are going to be walking around with MetaQuest Pro-esque things strapped to their head, just around the street?
Not around the street, but at home. I think it would might maybe end up being a little bit like the end of Ready Player One, where there's the limit.
We are really leaning on Ready Player One to explain what this is.
Where there's a limit on it's only open 3 or 4 days a week, and then on like a Saturday and a Tuesday it doesn't work. You can't put it on, which I think could really affect people mental health. Yeah. If you haven't watched Ready Player One, highly recommend it. I
mean, some people even go to bed in VR, which I just don't see the logic in.
It's just so unhealthy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Apple, here's some rumours for you. Ooh. Apparently Apple are planning on releasing a... Have you heard about that? Releasing a VR headset? It's rumoured.
Well, Apple plan on doing a lot of things. They planned on making their own search engine. They planned on making their own car. But I'm really not sure if they're willing to do it right now. What would be the main motivation? Like, they already have such a monopoly on the computing area. And, like, I feel like they're a bit committed to their M1s. Although, to be honest, if you probably shove an M1 inside of a VR headset, who knows? Maybe in a few years. We thought you needed to know about VR. We really did. Because it is a revolutionary industry, and also in a few years you're going to be forced to wear it at the company you work at anyway. So have fun.
And enjoy VR, and if you do get the chance to use VR or watch Ready Player One, we highly recommend it.
Goodbye, human. It's me, Mark Zuckerberg. Thank you for buying my products.